Uganda, like a number of African countries, is a proud holder of fertile soils, with over 60% of its population engaged in the agriculture sector. However, the African Union is concerned that from last year's biannual review on progress of the CAADP implementation, none of the countries was on track to meet the 2025 targets set. Ambassador Joseph Asako is the Commissioner for Agriculture, Rural Development, Blue Economy and Sustainable Environment at the African Union.
At least 18 countries were above 5 to reach that goal that we set to end hunger. But they could not end hunger completely because the bench was high and they didn't score that indicator.
However, she noted that there had been some progress in different countries' efforts to end hunger.
Rwanda, for the best score, are the best score still because the benchmark was 8.9. Rwanda had 8.07 out of 10. Then we have Morocco has 6.99 out of 10. We had Egypt 6.83 out of 10.
Sako named some of the 20 countries, including Uganda, which were making good progress.
Benin, Burkina Faso, Burundi, Cape Verde, Egypt, Eswatini, Ethiopia, the Gambia, Ghana, Kenya, Malawi, Mali, Morocco, Nigeria, Rwanda, Sierra Leone, Tanzania, Tunisia, Uganda and Zimbabwe.
But why did these countries not meet the targets?
The issue is the shocks also affected. The conflict also affects the production of food. The second one, it is also the issue of they produce, but the issue of post-harvest loss.
Despite some progress, Africa indeed still faces a number of challenges in achieving food security. Agnes Kalibata is the president of the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA.
The biggest shortfall has been that very few countries, or a handful, let me not say very few, a handful of countries have been able to do 10%.
And that is not all.
COVID-19 was that impact how we access, for example, the Russia-Ukraine crisis really impacted how African farmers access fertilizers now, because some of this, the trade ecosystem that had been developed was disrupted.
Beyond the funding, climate change is another factor which adversely affected a number of countries' ability to meet the set targets, as Dr. Kalibata explains.
When climate change started being a problem in 2015, because that's when you can put fingers exactly that this actually is beginning to undermine development of the African continent, we started putting more resources into dealing with the climate change challenges. Our economies, our countries are putting an average of 9% of their GDP into dealing with the challenge of climate change in agriculture and infrastructure and all these other things.
Ambassador Sako cannot agree more.
Mozambique, because of a cyclone, and Zimbabwe, the farmers lost a lot of their production because of the floods, all these kind of things. Those are also one of them.
The United Nations World Food and Agriculture Organization country representative Antonio Querido shares how countries can ensure they address this challenge.
Water resource management is important, so our agriculture does not continue to be so dependent on climate. We've been working with the governments, particularly here in Uganda, to see how we look at introducing crops that are resistant to drought, crops that are resistant to plant and disease.
The agriculture experts share some of the areas which need to be prioritized if the agriculture sector is to be transformed at the desired pace.
We don't need taxes from farmers, we need taxes from businesses. If a farmer is a big business, viable business, they have to pay tax. But if a farmer is struggling to produce food, what tax are we talking about?
Countries need to invest more. More resources needs to go to agriculture sector.
The political will in some country is not there. The priority is not there. And the commitment that they made to do 10%, many of the countries do not.
It therefore goes without saying that climate change has a direct impact on food security, and without adequate investment in agriculture and building the resilience of farmers to climate change shocks, efforts of transforming Uganda and Africa's agriculture sector will be undermined. I'm Benjamin Jumbe, NTV.